Hi there, good day. Have you ever gone hiking before and stood at the edge of a valley and played with your own voice? I remember being on a hiking trail with Phyllis in Machubus Kloof. Machubus Kloof is this mountain pass between the high veld and the low veld out in Mpumalanga. And standing at the edge of a valley and just shouting and listening to the echo of my own voice. There's this ancient Jewish term, daughter of a voice. And this term, daughter of a voice, has two meanings. One is an echo, which I'm sure most of us are familiar with, and I'm hoping you've tinkered with it before and listened to the beauty of your own voice coming back at you. But there's a second meaning to this term, and that's what I want to talk about this morning. The ancient Hebrew word for this echo, for this word, is bath-kol. Bath-kol. And you may not have heard of this term before, but it was developed by the early rabbis, and it was a term used to describe the voice of God. Not the voice of God as in instructing a prophet what to speak to the nation, but rather bath-kol is used to rather describe this heavenly or divine voice which proclaims God's will or God's judgment. It is Holy Week now, and we have come to this place where we have a record of bath-kol, or we have a record of the voice of a daughter, or the daughter of a voice, or the voice of God. In the Gospel of John records that Jesus arrives at his friend's place, Mary, Martha, and Lazarus. But Lazarus is dead, and his corpse has already been in the tomb for a few days. When Jesus meets the crying Mary, Jesus is moved to tears, and we have the shortest verse in the Bible that Jesus wept. And I'm so reminded that every time we do anything that moves us to an eternal separation from Jesus, this caused Jesus to be saddened. This caused Jesus to be deeply moved. John records that after Jesus wept, Jesus raises Lazarus from the dead. And after the telling of this story and the telling of the authorities' reaction to the story, John chapter 12 starts, and John chapter 12 has Jesus back in the house of his friends. But this time John records it's a few days before Jesus gets crucified. This time, during supper, the 12 disciples are with, and Mary breaks open an expensive perfume jar and washes Jesus' feet in this perfume. The following day, Jesus goes into Jerusalem, what we know as the triumphant entry, where us Christians remember that it's the start of the Holy Week. It's the period where the beginning of the 50 days of Jesus' walk here on earth is. And it's so interesting because we believe that Jesus was crucified at about the age of 30, give or take a few years. And the Gospel of John, just a little bit less than half of the Gospel of John is about this last 50 days. The rest of the Gospel is about the days before this, the 30 years leading up to this. So just after that time where the crowds were shouting, Hosanna, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord, Hosanna in the highest, just after that time, John records that Jesus is teaching the people around him. And it's so interesting because Jesus is teaching them that he's going to die. And Jesus teaches them that he is doing this to the glory of God. And the ones that serve Jesus, that's you and I, the ones that serve Jesus, Jesus teaches that Jesus is going to honor those people that serve him. It is during this teaching that the voice of God intervenes, the daughter of a voice that echoes through the place while Jesus is having this teaching. Jesus is saying that this is the time for the crucifixion, that this is the time that Jesus is going to suffer and die. And Jesus admits that he is nervous, that he is apprehensive that this is going to take place. and that Jesus is not going to avoid it. Jesus is teaching that he is going to glorify the name of God. And that's when the voice of God echoes through that place. I have been glorified, and I'm going to do it again. That is why I love this Holy Week, where we spend time remembering what Jesus did, and remembering that this time is the very core of our belief, that Jesus died on the cross, that Jesus was motivated by love for every single one of us. Every one of us is important. Every one of us has a deep meaning in the heart of Jesus, that we have this little place or this huge place in the heart of Jesus. And also that Jesus died to glorify the name of God, which God echoed to the people that were there on that day listening to that teaching. Wow, I'd love to have been there just to hear the daughter of a voice echoing through that place. But Jesus ends that teaching. He ends it with reminding people that you and I, well, those people present there, and ultimately you and I, that we are children of the light. You can read this all in the Gospel of John chapter 12. And in this time in our calendar where we are remembering Jesus and that Jesus died and why Jesus died, and we remember the cross and we remember the resurrection, we also remember that Jesus was teaching that you and I, that we are children of the light. And while Jesus was teaching it, the voice of God was resounding and echoing this lesson all around. May your Easter be one of deep meaning. And may you never forget that Jesus died so that you and I can be seen and be remembered as children of the light. Until we meet again, God bless.